My name is Earl Riopelle. I'm 79 years old. I was born in 1942. And
Were you drafted, Earl?
I volunteered for the draft. We kind of were undecided. I'd gone to college for a year and we were kind of back. It was 3-4 of us, Paul St. Germain, Elmer Paniak, and I. And we kind of didn't know what we wanted to do kind of in life. And we said, rather than get drafted, let's volunteer for the draft and take it from there. So anyway, going back to my childhood, in 1946, I was diagnosed with polio, and I was paralyzed from the waist down. So I've always had kind of a disability, and getting back to the service, I thought, well, maybe I wouldn't even be eligible for the service. So when we went to the get tested and everything, I was healthy enough, I guess. So I graduated from Argyle High School, played 3 sports, so I guess maybe my disability wasn't as serious as I thought it was for the service. I'm actually colorblind, and they told me when I went through induction that I was very valuable in combat because a colorblind person kind of can look through camouflage. So I had a good disability and a bad disability, but I still was able to go. It was
What branch of Army? Were you in the Army?
I was in the Army. Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And started out, went in December or November 21st, 1961. Were inducted in Fargo. Went to Fort Carson, Colorado.
How'd you get to Fort Carson?
Bus, yeah. And we thought this was pretty easy going, nice bus ride. They didn't give us the best meals, but so we got there, and about the second day we were lined up in formation, and they said, "Are there any carpenters here?" And I looked at Elmer and I said, "Let's volunteer." They said, "Never volunteer." Well, we volunteered, and we got pretty good duty. We were putting mirrors up in bathrooms that had been either broken or cracked or whatever. Well, then went into
This was during basic training?
basic training, yeah. So, I mean, we didn't do that every day, but we got out of some of the details,
Sure.
the crappy ones. I think maybe KP or something. No, we had KP, so we didn't get out of that. Well, we went in on the 21st of November, and I think it was just about the 23rd of December, they sent us home for Christmas. So we thought, geez, we got a pretty good life here. We go for a month and then go home for Christmas. Well, we took a bus, 3 of us. It was Elmer, Paul, and I. And we got as far as Crookston on the bus. And then we didn't get any further. And so we hitchhiked from Crookston. We got to Warren finally. We had our duffel bags. And I think Paul got a hold of his girlfriend, so he got a different ride. Well, Elmer and I couldn't find a ride out of Warren. It was probably 8 o'clock at night, 20 below. So we started hitchhiking from Warren to Argyle. And many cars passed us up, and finally a family with, I think, 3 little kids and Christmas gifts galore picked us up and brought us to Argyle. So, well, then after Christmas, we went back to Fort Carson, Colorado, and finished off our 8 weeks of basic. And I volunteered again for fire duty. And that consisted of, I'd work nights stoking boilers in the officers' quarters. They had the hot water was coal, little furnace, and the main heat was a furnace. So I'd get up about 3 o'clock in the morning. They'd wake me up, and then I'd go do that, and then I'd usually get back to bed about time to get up again. So but I didn't have any KP or any guard duty. So when other guys were out, keeping the enemies away, I was free. Well, after basic, we could come home again, and so we came home. I can't remember how.
Bus again?
Huh?
Came home on the bus?
I don't remember how we came home. I'm going to back up a little bit. After we came home for Christmas, we went back with, I'm going to back up a little bit and kind of Went back with Dean Parent to Kansas. He was in Fort Riley, Kansas. So the three of us, Paul and Elmer and I, rode back with Dean. But then from Kansas to Fort Carson, Colorado, we didn't have a ride. So we checked into bus tickets and stuff. And I think what it cost us $60 a piece or something. So we thought, well, let's buy a car instead. So we shopped around. We bought a '49 Dodge car. No title. And it was about the same money as getting back on a bus or whatever. So we got that back to Fort Carson. Well, no title. We didn't know what to do with it. So there was a junkyard not too far away. So we'd park it in the junkyard. And then whenever we got a chance to drive it, we'd take it for a spin. We'd take a license off some old junker. And so we had that during basic. Then after basic, I never graduated from basic because about a week before graduation, I had a fever and I went in and they said I had swollen glands, so they pulled my wisdom teeth. So after that, come to find out I had mumps instead of bad wisdom teeth, so they put me in a hospital for probably 4 or 5 days, and the rest graduated then. Well, then I kind of broke out of the hospital and rode home in a Dodge. We didn't quite make it home. It blew up on us someplace. But we finally bought another car on the way, and so we had a lot of experiences with rides. And then we went, our orders then were to go to Fort Hood, Texas.
But you never did graduate from basic? They just let you go through?
Yeah, and I had my orders at that time. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, everybody was off post when I got it. In fact, the car was waiting with my duffel bag in.
You just didn't do the ceremony?
Yeah, I didn't do the ceremony, which
Yeah.
I never missed it, I don't think. Those guys said, you better come because we're leaving today. We want to get home. So had some fun times. I mean, not, being kind of on the buddy system or whatever you want to call it, it made basic really easy, I thought. There was, hard times. It was cold in Colorado and, going through all the different maneuvers and going up and down hills.
Did you go up Pikes Peak at all?
Well, it felt like we did, but we didn't quite get that high. There was I can't remember what the climb was, but it was pretty pretty severe. And actually, it felt worse coming down when you were tired. You had a hard time controlling your feet and stuff, and kind of gravelly. So then we went to Fort Hood, Texas, and I was in an artillery company, but I was assigned to an administration company. And I was in morning reports. The morning report kind of consists of different companies would bring their morning report, and a morning report is kind of what should we say, a ledger, who's there, who's on leave, who's sick, who's AWOL. And then I would combine them and put out a master list, and then that would be sent 4 different places, Washington, D.C., and went from Fort Hood all over the place. And so what I had to do is I had to type numbers in little boxes. And it took me a little while, I wasn't good in typing, and I kind of was hunting pecker type. And so, but I got onto it pretty good. I had a good sergeant that he had patience with me. Everything had to be lined up perfect. You couldn't have a number outside that little box. And I got a chance to meet some good, company people that would bring their stuff in. And I could do them favors by, helping them out, getting things right. And they did me a few favors otherwise too. So. And we were in Fort Hood and kind of going along, just normal. I mean, I'd go to work just like a normal working day. And then about in, I would say September of '61, we got a notice, and the whole fort was to move to Fort Stewart, Georgia. And that's when the Cuban crisis was kind of coming about.
How did they move you?
Well, they moved us the first time. I went by train, and I was kind of in a second or third train because all the artillery and the infantry went earlier. So Elmer had a car there, I had a car there, and they said you have to get everything off post and ship it home.